Anyway, it is a sad day here, and I'll first talk about what happened in Eretz Yisrael. It is truly, truly an act that goes beyond almost anything I have seen. As Rabbonim and others and their students were davening and facing east, in from behind comes these barbaric murderers, not only with guns, but with meat axes, and just kills as many as they can in the act of praying early in the morning, intended to strike not just kill people, but strike fear in the hearts of the Jewish community. The barbarism of this act, to me, I really resented in the New York Times and others, where they first wrote about these killings and then said, and Palestinians were killed. In each case, the Palestinians were killed as they were trying to kill Jews. And they mention them one after the other with no distinguishing. This is the moral...
Cycle of violence.
Cycle of violence. This was the moral equivalence that is at heart. I'll tell you, there's only one moral equivalent. What these murderers did is morally equivalent, in my judgment, to what ISIS does when it puts people on television and beheads them. In each, they are trying to sow fear and break apart civilization and Western society and use these poor people as pawns. And the second thing I want to say is this, and this is very important and has been forgotten for too long. Why did this happen? In part, we know what Hamas always does. But the head of the Palestinian Authority, Mr. Abbas, has repeatedly tried to incite Palestinians by spreading lies about their holy Muslim site at the Dome of the Rock and how they're not going to be allowed to pray there. He has said it over and over again, one way or another. And I was very glad that Secretary Kerry, who I don't always agree with on the Middle East, yesterday said that this was incitement and it had to stop. But it's not out of the ordinary. Look at the textbooks that the Palestinian Authority provides to the youth, the Palestinian youth, in the areas they control. They make it's reminiscent of what the Nazis said about the Jews. And they're teaching 5-, and 6-, and 7-year-old boys and girls hatred of the Jewish people that is almost never overcome. So I yesterday said, Mohammed Abbas is a co-conspirator in this murder and should be treated as such. And I hope that our administration, our president, and all of the Congress will recognize this and not just ask Abbas to condemn it, but what an act of hypocrisy. He first incites, and then after pressure condemns. We have to make sure that let these people not have died in vain, including I knew Rabbi Twersky's father when he was head of the Jewish Studies Department at Harvard when I went to school there. Let these people not have died in vain. Let us, and let the world, start telling the Palestinian Authority, who's supposed to be mainstream, to stop this. We know what they're doing. They're trying to turn the people's attention from the failures of their government, the corruption in their government, the lack of their government's ability to provide an economic good life for their people, to hatred of Israel and the Jews. That's got to stop. We will not have peace in the Middle East unless it does. And the only good thing I can think that can come out of this tragedy is if that happens. If the United States, all of us, and the whole world start telling Abbas and the Palestinian Authority that they have to stop what they're doing, because they too are creating barriers to peace and to justice, and they ought to be held accountable, particularly in light of the horrible tragedy which happened yesterday. One other thing I want to say, I know my colleagues want to speak. I just want to thank all of you for your support of Iron Dome. You know, we worked very hard for Iron Dome for a long time under, as I mentioned, Senator Levin's leadership. And we knew it was good, and we knew it was a wonderful collaboration, because America would send things over there, and then the Israeli military people and the brains over there would they'd send them back here, and it would improve the whole Iron Dome system. But we never knew how good it was until the recent attacks by Hamas and their rockets on Israel. And it is amazing. It is amazing how they provided the shield, the protection, the umbrella for Israel. So all the work that you have done and we all have done for Iron Dome paid off. Hamas thought with their rockets they would bring Israel to its knees. And there were many reasons they didn't, but at the top of the list was the success of Iron Dome. So to all of you in conclusion, first, we're going to keep fighting for continued strength of Iron Dome, continued advancement of Iron Dome, continued collaboration, and the administration. I've had my differences with the administration on Israel. But on this one, they deserve full credit. The administration has been fully without flinching, without stopping, without saying, well, we'll give you this, not that. And we must continue to work together because it is a shield of Abraham, the Iron Dome. Thank you very much.